Now to a case shared by Maria, a night officer who went through very strange events inside a hospital that was days away from being fully abandoned. This is only half of what she lived through inside the building.
Me doy cuenta que yo me metí aquí, a la madre, y me asomé aquí, pero no me asomé hasta acá, me asomé así nada más y cerré la puerta para limpiar el baño. Y me metí a limpiar el baño y miré que se estaba sentando aquí y dije de querer ir al baño. Y cerré, o sea, yo estaba encerrada. Y cuando salí del baño me asomé y miré que no había nada. Ay, no, me voy a salir de aquí.
Maria had moments like these, seeing strange shadows slip out of sight in seconds along the halls. But it would not remain only in her memory, because one night a co-worker on shift filmed the very thing they feared. A strange figure appeared at the far end of the corridor. Someone or something at the end of the hall seemed to hide. What troubled the most was that no one was assigned to that area and no one was working in that section of the hospital at that time. In fact, when this was recorded, the hospital had already been cleared out completely. There is one more detail in this video that Maria shares, and it is even more unsettling when you hear it. Listen to her statement.
El hospital ahorita está totalmente abandonado. Yo todos los videos que subí los grabé en una ocasión que me tocó trabajar de noche. El video ese lo tomó una pasante porque en ese momento el hospital ya estaba abandonado, solamente quedaba la cocina, pero la cocina estaba en el piso de arriba, todo lo de abajo estaba abandonado y de verdad que no había nadie. Donde supuestamente se mira que se mete una persona, hay una pared. Si lo ponen lento se van a dar cuenta que hay una pared.
It really does look as if that silhouette crossed through the wall before it reached the corner of the hallway. Some say it could be leftover energy from patients who spent their final seconds within these walls, or even aware entities that have not left a place marked by pain, illness, and loss. The following video is also quite the spooky one. It was recorded by Ali McDaniel, who states that he had just returned from a fishing trip that day and that he heard some really alarming screams from a close-by public bathroom. He didn't see anybody entering, and he felt that this was quite odd, so he started recording this encounter.
Yo, what the? What the? Bro. There's nobody in here. Yo!
What Ali didn't realize at the time was that there seemed somebody else standing relatively close to him in the bathroom. Many people said that the screams seemed quite real though, making some believe that it might have been just a nice video project. But if not, what exactly had unfolded here that evening? The next video was captured by a family who came back from a little trip in Mexico. They were traveling along a road in the fields, which was relatively deserted. What made them pull out their phone was a scary-looking object that was seemingly floating in the sky, just a few meters above the road. They said that it was an extremely scary looking shadow figure, with barely any facial features as far as they could tell. They had no explanation for this terrifying incident, other than something inexplicable that must have unfolded here. How else could we explain this? What is that thing? The following video was uploaded by a young man who loves to capture departing and arriving trains. One of his favorite spots is an older bridge from where he can oversee the entirety of the train tracks, and therefore can capture some really great footage. Interestingly enough, this area is said to be home to several strange events. Legends speak of a ghost train that can be seen ever so often as it's making its way through the area. The following night, the man saw an extremely bright light at the end of the tracks and started recording in anticipation. The lights suddenly vanish, and there's no train coming towards his direction. But as weird as this is, there was something else going on the train tracks. Did the man also capture two of the spirits that are said to roam the area at night? Apparently, there have been several unfortunate accidents over the last decades, making many of his viewers believe that this actually were two of these eternal visitors. Hard to say what transpired here that night, but it's certainly very mysterious. The following video was submitted by Antonio. A family embarks on a late-night drive, unaware of the otherworldly enigma awaiting them. Little did they know their journey would take an unexpected turn, and it was an evening they would never forget. Something peculiar materializes right in front of their vehicle.
Aku nampak dua orang. Ada bukan dua orang tau.
Kau nampak kan?
Ya. Itu tu. Tak tahu kat sini.
Okey.
Ada weh dah ada. Mana? Ha, tak ada. Ada. Ha, tu.
Watch closely as an eerie figure emerges from the darkness. Was it a spirit yearning for release or a mere illusion? A white cloth-like apparition comes into view, seemingly suspended in mid-air, on that desolate road. But the weirdness doesn't end there. In a swift motion, it flutters past the car, leaving the family paralyzed with fear and in disbelief. Its true form remains shrouded in darkness, raising more questions than answers. Our curiosity lingers as we ponder what exactly did they encounter that fateful night. This is a recording of a group of friends, and we see them having a rather pleasant time in what appears to be a park. Apparently, they didn't notice anything out of the ordinary at the time, but once home, they saw that something else was present. Deep in the background of the scene, we can see a disturbing figure. It seems to be hunched over and appears to be completely pale. And perhaps wasn't wearing any clothing. What's horrifying is their way of walking, and above all, their intriguing morphology. What are we seeing here? Some people commented that without a doubt, it could be a humanoid creature, maybe a skinwalker. Others argued that it might simply be a regular person who snuck onto the recording. Could it even have been something paranormal? Let me know what you think. This video was recorded by the dashcam of a man who was visiting the infamous Gettysburg Cemetery one night. There have been numerous creepy videos that freak people out over the years. In this case, the driver of the car was parked and didn't see anything himself at the time. His dashcam, however, kept recording, and after reviewing the footage, it turned out that he might not have been alone after all. To some, it looks like the spirit of a man is walking past the cannon to the right, a man that is wearing an old uniform. It is quite hard to come up with an explanation for this recording, if it wasn't staged, of course. Could this man capture a spirit, possibly reliving his days on the battlefield? What do you think? Rando66 has shared the following video of a man who believes he might have captured the old hag on the side of the road. The video received tons of upvotes and people are baffled. In Europe, a hag is described as a malicious witch who's blessed with supernatural powers. The man swears that he has seen the lady disappear and that he's not fooling us.
And they just disappeared when they got by the tree. I'm serious, man. There was a lady walking and she just disappeared in the sidewalk.
A friend of his crosses the street to check if there's actually anything to these claims. Right after he makes it back, the lady appears again.
¿Qué pasó, güey? ¡Oh, güey, mira! ¡Ahí va saliendo! ¡Mira! Salió del un hoyo, güey, no mames.
It's weird because she seems to pop up right behind the car.
What is that? ¿Qué es eso, güey? Es la llorona, güey. No mames. Mira.
Is it just a deceiving perspective, or is there more to this story? Someone riding a train spotted something truly unsettling inside the carriage.
Right. Speak to staff or text police 61016. We'll sort it.
He believes the figure may have slipped through from another dimension. Could that be possible? A family gets together for a birthday and records what should be a happy moment for their home video. The birthday man leans toward the cake, getting ready to blow out the candles, while everyone sings around him. The room is full of laughs and cheers as the camera keeps rolling on the scene. Then the candles go out and the room goes dark for a moment. And the catch is something that turns a happy memory into a scare. Watch closely. As the light fades and the room drops into darkness, a face shows up right next to the birthday man. Nobody noticed anything strange during the party while they were celebrating. Only later, when they watched the video back, did they realize what had been right beside him the whole time. Now, let's look at the chilling encounter that occurred deep within the depths of an abandoned mine, located in the mysterious town of Shiloh. Join me as we analyze this spine-tingling footage captured by a group of brave workers from a mining company. As the camera pans across the vast and desolate space, pay close attention for something truly extraordinary. Just a few feet away, nestled in a small crevice, a curious and enigmatic figure comes into view. Its shadowy form can only be glimpsed for a fleeting moment, as if it wishes to remain hidden from the mortal realm. Astonishingly, when the camera pans back, the figure has vanished without a trace, leaving us to wonder, what was it? Yet one hypothesis has gained popularity among believers, a creature known as a duende, an elf-like entity said to harbor sinister intentions. However, let's remember that these theories are just that. Could this be a paranormal presence captured by mere chance? Or is there a logical explanation for this? This video was found on a channel called Ricardo Costa. The channel doesn't feature anything particularly interesting besides the following clip. It is said that the young people were hanging out at a friend's house at night, and they were tampering with a ghost board. After they had moved on to another game, some very interesting activity got captured. At first everything appears to be normal game night, until something odd is appearing on camera. It appears that a creature is running by in the background on all four of his limbs. It is hard to make out, but some say it reminds them of the rake. What do you think? They realize instantly that something is with them in their home. and start to look for possible answers. Then they catch it once more, how it escapes through their living room. It appears to be more humanoid in this capture, although the head is kinda disproportionate to the rest of its body, and the limbs are really thin. The next video was forwarded by Flower Sun, and it is said that it was recorded in the home of a young family in Russia. They have been experiencing strange activity lately, orbs and even strange shadows that move from room to room every so often. This night, the father saw a bright orb out of nowhere and started recording. Whatever this light source was seemed to fly straight into the television, and unfortunately destroying it by doing so. Where could this unexplained light source have come from, in your opinion? If it wasn't just a video project, of course. Is it some form of ball lightning? Curious. Connor Finn was staying at the infamous Norbreck Hotel, which is said to be haunted by unseen forces. This night he decided to document his adventure. In the midst of night, which was around 3 AM, he made it out of his room to check out the hallway, in which several strange sightings had been documented over the years. Now, what could he come up with?
Pictures everywhere. Those doors are locked. This here. There's a lot of those pictures. Whoa, my camera's really bloody. It's focused now.
He walked further down the hallway, and his camera seemed to have some interference issues all of a sudden. Strange. Once he comes across this dark room, he gets startled by something terrifying.
You make any kind of noise to let me know that someone's around. Maybe show yourself on camera. Do you not have the strength to show yourself? Oh my God! Oh my! That got me. Oh. You show yourself? Oh my God!
The hotel staff stated the day after that they were not aware of any guest screaming in the night, and nobody else seems to have heard it, which is even weirder. Did he maybe come across a spirit? Or maybe just a person from the outside? What do you think? The The following video was found on the profile of Ashley Haight. It is stated that the security camera captured something really odd that evening. Ashley's husband was alone at home at the time of the recording and decided to close the blinds for the rest of the night. He slightly pushes the Wise camera out of the way to lower the blinds. But for some reason, there seemed to be another person with him. He had no idea who or what exactly it was, however. There was no child at home at the time, which is why both believe this to be a spirit. What else could it have been? Mysterious. This video was recorded by a paranormal enthusiast who was hoping to capture something interesting in a so-called haunted location. It says that he was alone at the time, which of course cannot be confirmed. At this point, the man seems to realize that something was off, though. A shadow is moving by the door in the background. I'm not sure if this apparition even has visible legs. Is it a spirit or just a hoax? This recording was shared by a Brazilian fire crew who, in the middle of the night, received a desperate call from a woman. With a trembling voice, she asked for help, saying she was trapped inside the local cemetery. The firefighters headed out at once and ran into something unsettling.
Olha a situação na noite dessa quinta-feira, gelada, nublada. O corpo de bombeiros foi chamado por uma mulher trancada aqui dentro do cemitério. Os bombeiros estão aqui, mas não conseguiram localizar ninguém. Eles receberam a ligação, a mulher ligando, falando: eu estou trancada aqui no cemitério. Olha aí. Olha aí, ó. O pessoal tá procurando aqui. Até agora, ninguém localizado. Os bombeiros já foram pro outro portão aqui e ninguém foi visto aqui no local.
Cara, não parece uma pessoa lá? Lá, olha lá, bem onde você está iluminando. Do lado direito ali, ó, parado de pé lá.
Será? Não, né?
Olha lá pra você ver, ó.
Não, cara, não tem nada não, cara.
Olha lá. Olha lá. Tá vendo? Parece ser uma pessoa, mas tá lá.
Acho que é ilusão de ótica por causa da lanterna, cara. Alguma coisa, cara. Acho que não é não.
Então, a gente recebeu uma solicitação de que uma pessoa ficou presa dentro do cemitério e disse que o pessoal tinha saído, trancado do cemitério e ela ficou presa lá dentro.
The firefighters found absolutely no one. The most disturbing part comes next. The call record remained in the system. The signal trace pointed to one exact spot, the cemetery itself. That raises a troubling question. Who or what could have placed that call from a place where no one was present? It is worth noting this would not be the first report of a ghost call. Voices captured on recorders, messages with no sender, and phone signals traced to sites where nobody is around have been reported before. Guess this one will remain a mystery. The next story was shared by Nick, who works night security at an abandoned factory. He states that ever since he started this new job, things got strange in his home. As of recently, he has started looking after his ailing grandmother. One evening, something inexplicable unfolded before him. It's worth noting that Nick's grandma suffers from Alzheimer's, which sometimes makes her stand and stare at empty spaces. But that night, as she stood by the fridge, something happened that even Nick couldn't chalk up to her condition. It turns out one of the small figurines perched on top of the fridge tumbled off by itself. It fell with a sudden clatter, made even more unsettling by the fact that the dog began growling, but the mystery deepened when Nick zoomed in on what had actually toppled.
So this is in response to last night. My grandma loves to collect little figurines. One of my grandma's little angels fell off the fridge last night. See how far back they are. Genuinely. Honestly, I'm a bit in disbelief. No, I'm pretty sure it's just a plug-in charger. I brought my girlfriend Claire here so she can help demonstrate. But can you try to step in front of that? And so it just does that. Move away. So that comment says that the Roomba doesn't do that unless someone's in front of it. My question is, like, he's kind of creepy with a smiley face and everything. Even when it gets to the edge, it does this.
Looking back at Nick's video, you'll notice the Roomba moves back and forth, exactly as if someone were standing in front of it. But what could have been blocking its path? To Nick, it seemed like the robot was sensing something unseen. And that's when things got really creepy, because ever since that night, Nick has felt constantly on edge in the kitchen. Since his grandmother only has a TV in that room, he has no choice but to sit there while she watches. Then one night, as he was watching by himself, something scary happened.
So, I was watching my show, and after last night, I'm definitely not leaving these lights on. But I was watching my show, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. No Roomba in sight to explain why the dogs are acting like this. Both dogs were staring at the empty room, locked onto the kitchen, even though it was totally dark and empty. That was unsettling enough, especially because Nick's grandfather, who passed away last year, once told him he'd seen Grandma standing in the dark kitchen one night, only to find nobody there when he looked closely. That memory added to Nick's fear of the kitchen. But that wasn't the last creepy moment. Later that same night, after putting the dogs away, Nick filmed again when the ice maker suddenly clicked on, and as he recorded, it got even creepier.
Whoa.
Yo.
Oh, that's cool. Jesus!
To his shock, the Roomba, which had been following him around the living room, flipped itself over. There was nothing in its path, yet it spun a full 180 degrees, as if an invisible force had shoved it. Freaked out, Nick cut the recording and immediately posted the video online. That earlier, the Roomba had been moving in a perfectly straight line, unusual for one of these vacuums, and that it didn't even pause or turn when it approached the stair edge like it normally would. In his previous test it had reacted, but this time it didn't. If the falling figurine hadn't shaken him enough, then seeing the Roomba flip over certainly did. Since then, nothing else strange has been recorded. This one remains a mystery. The following was caught by Don Rivas, a night officer who, according to his own account, decided to pull out his phone and record some security footage during his late shift patrol. He'd been keeping an eye on a customer he suspected of shoplifting, just in case the man tried to slip more items out of the store. Something unexpected showed up in the recording, and it's been freaking him out ever since.
Look right here. Right here. Look. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that? And then it's just gone. Bruh. What is that? One more time. Bruh. What is that?
Keep in mind, this happened back in 2014, yet even today he says it still sends a shiver down his spine. While Don was carefully observing the suspected thief, his attention suddenly shifted to the floor. There's absolutely nothing visible there to explain it. Even if it had been dropped merchandise, it makes no sense how an object could materialize and disappear without the suspect's leg or hand ever moving. The only thing shifting on screen is that strange, fleeting shape. What exactly crossed his camera's path remains a mystery. To this day, Don Rivas doesn't know what he saw.